Welcome to Cosmic Channels. Welcome to Cosmic Channels. I'm your host, Braden. This is your Cosmic Call-In show. I'm just the host. Who hosts it. We're taking all your calls. You've seen a sleep demon. You played with Ouija. You've seen ghosts. You've seen UFOs. I want your calls. Lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. First off, huge shout out to everyone who's been listening to Cosmic Channels. As of right now, the start of this episode, today's episode, I think it was 8.5 Shadow Monsters and More Floating Heads, is now our most listened to episode, single day listened episode, and our biggest single day download. We're climbing up. We're moving up. That's what I like to see. Thank you all for supporting the show. Really appreciate it. But we need a caller on the line. 1-833-703-0424. Just to let everyone know, we are, as you can probably see from the background here, bare bones. You're like, what's going on? For those of you who don't know, I recently moved, and I had to pack up the studio, tow it to my new residence and set it up. It's been a really busy 5 days. That's why I missed last week, and I'm partly set up, but I rushed the setup so I could record tonight. So listen, Meth Laboratories is not hardwired in right now, so I'm not sure if we're going to have connectivity issues. I'm not sure what kind of issues we're going to have, or if this is even going to be a worthwhile Cosmic Channels tonight, but I thought I'd give it a try. Hopefully this first caller is going to test things. We'll see how it goes. Let's go to the call. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Braden, it's Tim from Virginia.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man, it's going. I've been trying to get through for a little while. Just hadn't had any luck.
Well, good, man.
Finally got through.
Glad you made it. Sorry.
Yeah, man, had a story.
You may have left.
Yeah,
did you leave a voicemail
for a while?
By any chance?
What's that? I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Oh, sorry. This is what I was worried about. I was worried about the connectivity issues here. Running this. Normally, I'm hardwired in, but I haven't been able to run a wire yet. I was asking if you called and left a voicemail.
No, I didn't. I kept getting sent the voicemail. I wasn't sure if you guys checked those or not, so I didn't actually leave one.
Oh, I do. I listen to them all. Well, what do you got for us, Tim?
Yeah, man. So, like I said, I've been sitting on the story for a while. I'm not a great storyteller, but I'll try my best here. My buddy, Mr. Lizard Caveman, finally convinced me to call in. So,
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it a go here.
Old friend of the show.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, so let's start off about 8 years ago. My wife and I purchased our first home. Which congratulations on your purchase, by the way.
Thank you.
Our first home. It's single owner home when we bought it. The couple who lived here before us built it back in, I want to say, late 60s, early 70s. So bought the home. When we moved in, everything was normal. But after a couple months, started noticing some kind of strange happenings. My son, in his room, he would always say that his TV kept getting unplugged at night, just randomly. He said, like, the plug would just come out of the wall, yada, yada, yada. He was about 5 years old at the time. So I was like, yeah, okay, maybe the plug's loose, it's falling out. But then I noticed that it kept happening, like the plug kept coming out. And then as time went on, he started mentioning that he was wake up in the middle of the night and he would see this shadow figure standing in the corner at his door, staring at him. So I was like, okay, that's a kid, has imagination. But it just kept happening over and over and over. The plug would get snatched out the wall, and he would say, yeah, the shadow man came, opened my eyes, he's standing there in the corner, staring at me. So this was back when my wife was working night shift, so I would play a lot of video games online, up late at night, just talking to people, meeting random people. Met this one guy, and we started talking, was telling him the story, and he started making these claims that he was actually a medium of sorts. And he said, if you don't mind, he's like, if you give me permission, he's like, I can actually, remote into your home and see what's going on. So, of course, I was like, okay, yes, yeah, whatever, dude. So, I told him, I didn't tell him my address, of course, I'm not stupid, but I was like, I live in Southern Virginia. He's like, that's enough. He's like, I can feel your energy, yada, yada. I can get there. So he goes into this trance of sorts, and he enters the room and he starts describing this dark energy presence in the room. He's like, okay, so whoever this man is, he's like, I'm pretty sure it's the original owner of the home. He's male, he's older, and he's not happy with you guys being there. And he said, okay. He's like, I'm trying to talk to the guy, trying to talk to him. He said, he's getting angry. And about that time, like, I'm on the other end of the house. I hear this just loud crash and bang, just boom. I was like, what? So I jumped up, scared shitless. I go, and my son had just fallen out of bed at that exact moment. So I came back and I ran back to the mic once I got him straight. And the guy I was talking to, he said, the guy, he's like, the shadow figure, he's like, he just pushed your son out of bed, didn't he? It's like, well, he did fall out of bed. How'd you know that? He's like, because he's like, I saw it happen. So at this point I was freaking out. So I kicked this guy from my party chat, like blocked and deleted him. I was like, this is freaky.
Yeah.
This is freaky. And it just went on and on for a while. My wife tried to, burn the house and this and that. And eventually it kind of died down over the next year or two. But my son was never really scared, I don't think. He said over time he kind of felt comfortable with the figure.
Yeah.
So, and it was years. I mean, like just last year I discovered. I was next door talking to my neighbor he's been there at that property for like 20 years. So I was talking to him, and apparently in the house I'm in the owner's older age, he would come over and help those guys. He said the old man would fall a lot. He would kind of lose his mind every now and then. Like he would leave, walking, get lost. Like he would hide in closets and stuff in the house. But I started telling him the story, And he said, it doesn't happen to be the room at the front right of the house, is it? I was like, yeah, that's exactly the room that it's happening. He said, oh yeah. He's like, as he was dying, he said that's the room that he was actually in, and that's the room he died there, in that room.
Oh, that's comforting.
But it's been some weird happenings. Like, well, hear some noises every now and then. The activity kind of, it'll ramp up, it'll die down. But once we kind of finally accepted that we're, I guess, sharing the house with this man that, he grew up in a different time. He pretty much built the house with his bare hands. So once we kind of finally accepted that we're sharing it, pretty much we're able to cohabitate pretty well.
Huh. So it started off kind of more prevalent, maybe when maybe this ghost or spirit, whatever was kind of remaining in the house, was like maybe a little upset that you were there. And now over time, like, this stuff still kind of pop off, or is it not the same vibe, a little less?
At first to me, it was more of a negative energy.
Yeah.
My son never felt that way. Like I said, he was, I think, 5 when we moved in, so I don't feel like a 5-year-old would have any reasons to just make up, hey, there's a shadow man staying in the corner of my room when I wake up at night. But he never felt the negative energy, but my wife and I always felt the negative energy. Like,
well, especially when it's your kid coming to you. When it's your kid coming to you and saying this, I could see you being like, what's going on? Like, you kind of instantly kind of getting your, like, your back against the wall, a little, uneasy feeling. So, like, I can see why, but it's, it is a little happier to where it kind of subsides over time. Like, it kind of grows to accept you in the house as well, right? And it's just like, so,
yeah, and that's what I feel like has happened. I feel like this guy has realized that, hey, we're trying to raise our family in this home just like, he did. He raised a family in his home. So I feel like he's, over time, like you just said, accepted us. And it no longer feels negative, but I feel like he does these little things every now and then just to kind of let us know he's still here. Like, stuff will get moved around. You'll hear noises in other rooms. You'll see kind of like a flash of a shadow, dart across the hall. But it no longer feels negative.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, it's nice that you don't get that uneasy feeling from being in your own house. It's very interesting that, like, I almost want, like, be like, I guess you don't want to do things to upset it, because I'm like, did you ever early on try saging the house or anything like that?
So we did a couple like smudge sessions. We opened all the windows, had a couple smudge sticks, burned them, walked around the house.
Yeah. And
it would subside for a while, but I feel like it would come back kind of like a little bit more aggressive after that.
Yeah, because it's like, I could probably see, like, if this is the spirit of the old man that lived there, it's like upset that you're trying to, basically evict him from his house and where he lived his life and all his memories.
Exactly.
So I could see that.
Yeah.
I was kind of interested to know if you had given any attempts early on to, and if push the ghost out, and if there was any kind of like pushback. So that's interesting.
Yeah, like I said, for the longest time, I just kind of tried to write it off, like, it's just, imagination running wild. But when I was speaking with my neighbor, he's like, I think Mr. Matthews was his name. He's like, yeah, your kid's room is, when he got sick in older age, that's the room that he was pretty much bound to, bedridden, and that's the room he died in. Like, I had like chills down my spine.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I still cannot explain. Like I said, when I was talking to this random guy I met on PlayStation playing Call of Duty or something, I can't even remember. And just the amount of detail this guy was able to give me, like, the walls are red, right? Yeah, it was like his walls are painted red. And he was just able to kind of describe in detail my son's room. And when my son just fell out of bed, I just shit myself.
Yeah, I mean it's terrifying, and then to have that person on the other end of the line be like, yeah, it's that thing just pushed your kid out of bed. You're like, oh, terrifying.
Yeah, but the guy he was explaining to me, he's like, I wasn't born with these gifts or however he worded. He said, but when I was like 22 years old, he said I was walking across the street and a car ran the crosswalk and actually almost killed him. He had a near-death experience. And he said after that near-death experience is when he started picking up on these intuitions and his mediumship, I guess you could call it.
That's interesting. It's so wild that just, I have this experience, then all of a sudden you're sensitive, to this stuff. It's fascinating. So how long exactly have you lived with this thing?
So actually this year will be 9 years now.
Wow.
Since we've
Wow.
owned the home.
It's insane.
But we've just accepted the fact that, hey, something might move around every now and then. You might hear a noise, you might see a flash of a shadow across the hall, but like I said, it no longer feels negative.
Good. Well, that's a positive story. And for someone who says they are not a very good storyteller, you sure crafted one hell of a story, my friend. That was awesome, Tim.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I know my voice may sound a little bit shaky, but that's I've had a couple of drinks and also I'm nervous.
I don't have to be nervous. Thank you so much for calling in with that ghost story. It's very rarely do I have someone that's still living
I've got
in a
another
house.
story to tell.
You're the first caller. You're the first caller. Well, we always say first caller can do 2 stories if you so choose, or you can save it. It's totally up to you.
No, I'm going to save it. I've got cotton mouth over here, and Ellen mouth is driving me. So I've got to sit down and think about it. But it's a good story. It is alien related.
Oh, well, definitely call back.
May have to call the dream police on it, but I don't know. It's too many, I guess, circumstances that kind of go against it being a dream. So, but yeah, I'll definitely call back in and we'll discuss that.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, Braden. Like I said, once again, congratulations on the home, buddy.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And make sure to call back soon.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks.
Bye. Woo! Terrifying. Living in a house with ghosts for that long. I mean, I probably did a good jaunt, but like I said, when I was a kid, it was always scary, so I never got that sense of, or maybe I was too young to like really think about just like coexisting. It's really cool to hear that there's people out there that have these experiences in these houses that might be haunted, and then just kind of, have that wherewithal to kind of figure out that that was something special for that spirit or ghost, and then just kind of make peace with it, that like you're cohabiting, the space on some sort of some different planes of existence. And I see you guys all in the chat saying I need to be louder. Like I said, I had to reset up everything, so everything's all fucked up. So I'll boost my audio a little bit. That'll probably push us to right about there. There we go. Fascinating story though. So just like that though, lines are open. You got a call. You got a story. You got a ghost. You seen some aliens. You seen Bigfoot. 1-833-703-0424. Now, we have about $160 in the Cosmic coffers right now. 141 of that we're going to use for the old toll-free UK number. Now, I've been humming and hawing because I looked through all the analytics and stuff, and we don't have the biggest UK audience right now. Not that we couldn't do a full hour. I'm just humming on. I think we need to, when I pay for the line, I also want to do a big targeted ad for Instagram that's just in the UK, so we can get a bunch of those UK listeners. Ghost of Invalid ID just donated to that cause. So this next $100 we're raising is going to go strictly to PayPal ads or Instagram ads that target the UK audience, so that I can get some more UK people on board calling into the show. But the lines are open, 1-833-703-0424. You got a story you've been sitting in, you're humming and hawing, you're like, hey, listen, I want to, I'm too nervous. Tonight's the night. I got nothing. I have no stories prepped. I've got no fan submissions ready to go. Like I said, for me to get on here live was 12th hour. I was setting stuff up right till 5:50, trying to make sure everything worked. So the fact that this is even has worked with this much of a hitch, it's incredible. Mr. Tanko, thank you so much donating to the Cosmic Conference. Look, we're almost already halfway there to those Instagram ads that we're going to target the UK. Now, on our other ads, all of our other ad campaigns that we ran, we started them April 5th or April 4th. They're all wrapping up. I'll say this. We spent $500 Cosmic Channels on the audio podcast version. I'm not afraid to admit when we've made a bad investment. And the audio ads, I don't know how many people listen to that and came to the show. The show's growing, so maybe some, but definitely the Instagram ads are the biggest movers and shakers as far as clicks and growth of the show, where we can see people clicking on the show and then interacting. But we need a call. We've only had one call tonight. What's going on? Come on. You want to talk about a conspiracy? You've seen aliens. You've seen ghosts. It's so funny. Some of you in the chat, and you'll know who you are. I get to know you guys by your handles, right? Your aliases. And it's funny because then some of you will follow the show on personal accounts, and I never associate the people with the aliases. And it's so funny when worlds collide and someone will be like, hey, this is actually me. And I'm like, I know you. Now I know, like, I have a face and a name to the alias that I've seen so often. So that's always fun for me when I finally make that connection. I won't out anyone's. Katie Stone, there's a trick. There's a trick to calling in. I don't know if you have to do a Canada code, 01 dial out. I can't remember what it is for New Zealand. It might be 01 first. I just don't know how to dial out. I know we've had calls from Australia who have had no issues, and I've never had anyone from Australia say, hey, I got dinged with a huge bill. Having said that, callers from the UK have told me that. That's why we're making a dedicated UK line. But I'm waiting here. I'm sitting here waiting for a call. I got absolutely nothing. Although, I will tell you this. I got a couple cool stories lined up. Ever since the crib story. If you guys remember, I think that was from last week, 2 weeks ago. Local in town bought the crib from Marketplace Haunted. I've had a couple other locals in town reach out to me with, various ghost stories and stuff that I'm going to try to get recorded, similar to that one. But we got a call on the line, and calls take priority. Let's go to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Goose Glues from Discord.
Hey.
From California.
How's it going tonight?
Good. Just finally got to watch Cosmic Channels live.
Right on, man.
I wanted to call in.
Good. What do you got for us tonight?
The first ghost stories kind of inspired me. I got a couple from work that happened a couple months ago.
Ooh, I love it. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Well, the first one was, I do security, but a site that I was at, we have like somebody that does surveillance sometimes. So there's I'll just call her Megan for now. She was on like watching the cameras, and I was doing patrols, and she basically told me at like 3 a.m. that she saw like a light like flash, like if it was a flashlight, basically hitting our like the back camera on the back of the property.
Yeah.
So she basically told me to go check it out, and like I was asking her like what she saw on my way over there, and she said it looked like somebody like literally just took a flashlight and like shined it at the camera and then turned it off. And then like it was weird because on the back of the property over there it's so dark, so like it would have really stood out. So I got over there in maybe like a minute or two, and when I was there I checked like the whole back fence line and everything, and I couldn't see anything that could have made a light. And like in the back of that property, like there's not even like roads, you know, it's just like open like fields.
Yeah.
And, like, well, it's like a creek, and then just like basically so we kind of rolled out like the cars and stuff, but she showed me the video, and it literally just looks like a light pops on the camera and then turns off.
Strange.
And we had no explanation.
Is it now
But
the light?
The only reason
Is the light
what's that?
is a camera? Are the cameras like are they like night vision? You know, where it's like low light cameras?
Yeah, so it was like in the night vision
Yeah.
mode. So when it flashed, like you could tell like cause like the camera was up high, so you could tell like the light basically like lit up the top of the trailer, and then like the night vision shut off, and then when the light was off, like the night vision turned back on.
So quite bright and probably directly
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah. And then like even like the other cameras, you can kind of tell like a faint light that kind of flash and then off.
And nothing, crickets
But
in the area.
yeah. And then like I was back there like probably for 20-30 minutes, and I couldn't find a thing. I didn't hear anything, see anything, and yeah.
Creepy.
But the only reason we think it's ghosts there is just because like we've heard voices, or like other employees have heard voices there at night, and then like I never really gave it much stock until I was doing paperwork in one of the offices where they say it was like creepy. So I was like finishing my paperwork in there, and I honestly don't know what the voice said, but like I heard the voice behind me just like say something like pretty loud, and like I obviously didn't hear it because I was focused on my paperwork. But I like it didn't freak me out at first, like it stunned me, and then like I turned around and like looked around because I knew I was the only one in the building at that time, and it was like 3 a.m. also. But yeah, so I hear the voice, and like I put my pen down and I get up, and obviously I'm like, shit, I gotta go check everything out because I'm supposed to be alone here. So I go do a sweep of the entire building, and I'm still alone. And honestly, that voice I have no explanation for.
Weird.
But like I don't know what it said, but it's like if you like weren't paying attention doing something and somebody said something behind you, you know?
Yeah.
But like it's a big office in there, and it sounded like it was all the way in the back of the room, but it still sounded loud.
But no one, and again, no one there, no one around.
Yeah, 3 a.m, man. It's like
That's a bad
that
time
hour
too.
again.
Witching hour.
Yeah. And I'm like, shit, I'm always out there at night, so. And even like when you go into the building, because it's a huge warehouse, but it just feels like off. I don't know, unwelcoming, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Strange. No, what are your thoughts on those two things? What do you think it is?
Honestly, the light, I was kind of like, I don't know, maybe it was like a camera malfunction, you know? But like the only thing that threw me off was just like so much things lit up because of it.
Yeah.
And like the voice, like I'm not the only one that's felt like weird things in there. Like I never really wanted to think about it too much because I am there alone a lot at night. But after like that happened to me, I can't really ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't really know too much about the history of the building, so
when you say,
I know that like it's all old land, so
yeah, so when you say that other cameras like picked up the light kind of at the same time, like that's what you said, like obviously in a distance or whatever, but it picked up the flash.
yeah.
That's interesting because I was gonna say like, with those low light cameras and night vision cameras, I was like, I wanted to say like, sometimes, I'm not saying it was a bug, but like sometimes you can get a big object right in front of the camera and it does light up the camera. But what's interesting about yours is that at that same time, other cameras pick up this flash, which means whatever it wasn't something like directly in front of this camera, just kind of giving that effect. It must have been like an object giving off light for the other cameras to pick it up at the same time, which is really creepy.
Yeah, it like threw me off so much because if you saw how high up the camera is on the building, it's almost like somebody would have had to like put the flashlight on top of the camera, like to achieve how much it lit up the top of the trailer.
Weird.
That's under it. So and then I watched that video with her like 3 times, and like just like the fact that like I just couldn't explain it, so I kept going back outside, and just like checking. But we both just said that we had no idea what it is. Yeah.
How creeped out were you the rest of the shift?
Oh, dude, I got off at I had another 3 hours to go, and we have to go back there, every hour. So, like the whole shift, I was just kind of like looking around because I was like, what if somebody is, getting one over on me, Like, what if I didn't see someone?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it was those 3 hours were pretty long. Yeah. And then after I heard the voice too, because I mean, it's the same thing. Like I have to go in that office all the time. So it's like.
And it's in the back of your mind every time you're in there now?
Yeah, man. Like I'm in there just doing paperwork. I'm like, is this dude going to tell me something? And then we do get interference through our radios, but at that time, all the radios were off. And then now every time I do hear random shit through my radio, I jump a little bit. But
yeah, that's terrifying.
But some nights are creepier than others, but I'm there 5 nights a week, so.
And you're still working there.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's a chill job except for that stuff.
yeah, I bet. Well, you're definitely gonna have to call back and update us when other weird shit happens.
Yeah, no, I will for sure.
Right on, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
I'm glad I got some more stories out. Yeah, thanks for taking the call. Hope it goes well.
Yeah, take care of yourself and make sure to call us back with updates.
Yeah.
Oh, do you still have the footage?
Have a good night.
Can you get the footage of that light?
You know what? I was asking her for it, but she basically has to because it's a big company that I work for. She basically has to tell corporate that I'm taking the footage.
Yeah.
And then her main manager is kind of I don't know how to. He's got a.
I'll say it. He's an asshole.
Yeah, he's really strict about all that shit. So.
Yeah, no worries. It's all good. But hey, if you ever get something again, bust out that cell phone and film it.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about just setting up cameras. My brothers even wanted to do a whole EVP thing there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, I gotta get you approved to even be here.
Well, even just order you can order this spirit box or I don't know why I can't think of the name. The little electronic device where it lights up if there's ghost presence around. I can't think of it.
All the gadgets.
Yeah, buy a couple, right? Then you just you never know.
Honestly, that'll keep you busy at night.
Yeah, well, call back. We wanna hear if you any other shit happens to you.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.
Those night shift jobs, man. Working. I've done a couple where you're just in the dark all night. It's already scary. You don't need stuff like that happening. It's funny. It's a chill job except for the ghosts. I love that. Lines are open 1-833-703-0424. You seen some ghosts? You seen some? You seen an alien? You seen a UFO? You seen strange lights in the sky at night? You seen a strange absence of lights? Call into Cosmic Channels 1-833-703-0424. Tell your story. I had some other news that I wanted to share. that I wanted to update people on. Oh, listen. Those of you watching, I say it every week. I have to continue to say it every week. Check where you're watching the show. You watching the live stream on a Big Theory Productions YouTube page? Huh? Check yourself. If you're watching this right now, you're like, Braden got me. I'm actually watching on Alien Theorists Theorizing Facebook or Alien Theorists Theorizing YouTube. Jump over to Cosmic Channels YouTube page. Hop over to Cosmic Channels Facebook page. Hop over to Cosmic Channels Twitch and help us out. They'll listen in hours. It takes seven days to update, so I never really know. We're up to 1270 something. 1270. So we're almost halfway to our goal of 3,000 stream hours. And there's going to be more content. Like I said, it's just been a super busy week for me. So now that I got to get the trailer all set back up this weekend so I can get in here and get editing, because I don't have next week's shows ready. I haven't done any social media posts for Cosmic Channels or Alien Theorists Theorizing in like a week. So I got to get back on that. But listen, I want to call 1-833-703-0424. As I was saying before the last caller, I got some other people that are interested in want to share their ghost experience that are local. So it's kind of cool. Some people hear that local story and then have reached out and said, "Hey, I want to tell my story." So that's cool. So I'm gonna try to record those. Have them ready as another 20-minute kind of at the end of a live stream set up. There was but listen, if you've requested a story, if you're one of the people listening and you've requested to read a story, I'm calling on you, because I've sent out like 8 and I've run out and no one has sent one back. So if you're listening and you're like, shit, if I don't get your story soon, I'm going to re-gift your story to someone else who's going to read it. Because I got a list of people who want to read stories, but I've been kind of waiting. Someone in the chat, Invalid ID, is asking, did you ever find out more on that UFO landing strip in Port McNeil? I'll get back to that right after this call. Calls take priority. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Cosmic Channels.
Sorry, like I said, I'm drunk. I'm too drunk for calling in, but people wanted me to. But what's up?
What's going on? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Pyrodor from Lakeland, Florida.
Right
but
on,
my story's from northern New Jersey.
Northern New Jersey. What do you got for us tonight?
Yeah, I'm the one who called about Clinton Road a couple weeks back.
Yes, famous road. Ghost lights.
Yes, sir. So I'm calling about a story from the same kind of area.
The Clinton Road area?
Yeah, so the town is Rockaway Township.
Yeah.
And I used to live right next to this big old reservoir there called Split Rock Reservoir. And there's this legend there so hold on, let me explain to you the layout. So there's this big old reservoir, there's this lake, and there's this like 1-lane bridge that goes across it. So the legend was that if you go through that bridge at night, there's albino cannibals in the woods that would they'll come and jump your car and fucking attack you in the middle of the night if you went through that bridge at night. So yeah, nobody in town would ever dare to go through that bridge after dark.
And is this is off of Clinton Road, this area, or is it just same kind of area?
Well, no, it's not off of Clinton Road, but it's like a 10-minute drive away.
And if you remember, I mentioned there's like some like stone structures in the woods in Clinton Road.
Yeah.
If you go right off the bridge, there's this little like creek that comes. It's more of like a dam, really, from the lake to a little creek. And if you go toward the creek side, there's like this big old tower there. It's like a huge fireplace, like 30 feet tall, and it's real weird, but it gives a little bit of credence to the cannibal story.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just kind of pulled it up, and yeah, people say that like albino cannibals. I mean, it's hard to say because I'm reading a couple I'm on Reddit here, reading a couple of the people's accounts, seeing them, and I mean, what I know is, if I'm to believe these accounts, is that, you know, you cross the bridge and there's these cannibals or these albinos that like attack the car, you know, don't want you to leave, kind of block the road. I mean, scary. I mean, there's bush people. Like there's people that live in the bush. But a group of albinos and stuff.
Like, it's mostly a wooded area there. So like on the one side there's the lake, and the other side it's just straight woods.
Yeah.
It's like a natural preserve type of area.
Yeah, so like I'm looking in the I'll say this quickly, and I'm quickly glancing, so I don't want to, if anyone's listening from New Jersey who's going to be like, they are 100% cannibals, like, hey, listen, I'm just doing a quick peruse. I'm just saying what I'm reading is people have seen them and they'll be like, they're aggressive, they block the road and have scared people, but to then call them cannibals, I'm like, well, they're not a lot of people being like, it bit me. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't stick around to find out, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not, if a group of albinos block the road at night, that's on them, because my car's going through them. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sticking around to find out what they eat.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Terrifying.
Yeah, totally.
But it's weird, because I'm like, there's like that, I mean, like, a lot of those northern states, man, there's bush people, and there's like, you know, a lot of inbred people, like living in the backwoods and stuff. I think that one's in Virginia. There's that like weird family that like all they do is like click and stuff from all the inbreeding. I can't remember the family's name, the Whitakers or something.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Right, and they're like, you know, there's a documentary on them, and you're like, that is some hills have eyes stuff. And so it's like, you know, am I saying that like no, it's like people are writing that they've seen this, right? I'm watching the Reddit thread, and people are like, yeah, you know, they're just scared them, and so they took off.
And another thing to think about is my town back there was in the 1700s was a really big mining town for iron. I think it was iron and coal that they mined for. So it was like a pretty big like central spot at the time.
Yeah, so like maybe it's just
So
I mean, it's creepy. I'm looking at different like kind of legends and wikis on them, and it's like I'm reading the one. See, like a couple of these legends, as I'm kind of like going through them, they like start to blend in with Clinton Road ones, because I remember when I looked up Clinton Road last time we talked, there's a bridge on Clinton Road, if I'm not mistaken, and there's like, if you throw coins off, they get thrown back or something like that. I remember reading that.
Yeah, that's a totally different thing though. That's like a 15-minute drive away. That's it,
but then I'm reading some of these cannibal accounts, and people are like, yeah, I threw a coin off and a coin came back, and I'm like, oh, that's like that reminds me of Clinton Road. So now I'm like, you know, like I said, I'm just perusing. People are saying like it's a fucked up area. Like creepy.
Totally. Like we got like a whole bunch of hiking trails up there, and there's like, I went up there just one time, just not knowing really the area, and I just came up on this graveyard in the middle of it, and it's just really creepy, really old, from, like I said, the mining town back then. It's just like got graves from the early 1830s. It's really creepy.
So someone in the chat said it's just the Volturi, which is the largest and most powerful coven of vampires in the Twilight universe.
I wouldn't doubt
Or
it.
so I'm told. So I'm told. I don't really know. I've never read those books or watched those movies.
Yeah, no,
It's those local legends though. It's always interesting to see, especially when like people are like saying, like a couple people have seen them, because like there's one here, kind of where I'm at, where I'm from, you know, and I've tried to look it up, and there's actually a book. There's a book. And I can't remember if it's called Alder Street or Birch, but there's a legend about like a super haunted house in my town, and someone like lived there for a while and like wrote a book on it, and I've been trying to get my hands on a copy of the book because I was interested about talking to them about their experience, but it's like self-published, really hard to find. I want to say it's like 1280 Birch or 1280 Alder or something like that, and yeah, it's like an urban legend in town about this like haunted house, and like you ask people, they're like, yeah, I've heard of it, but like no one really knows where it is, and I've been trying to like track down exactly which one it is and like where I can find this book that someone wrote about their experience. But
yeah,
it's so interesting. This one is like cannibals, but I'm like, they're not eating. We know that like some people legit saying albinos, what looks to be albinos, group of them, stopping them or trying to stop them. But like, you know, no one's saying like, oh, I bit my friend. They bit my friend. So,
I mean, the one, yeah, I guess there's not really any real like first-person accounts of it or anything, but it's like I said, it's just kind of an urban legend that people don't go on that one-way bridge at night. Well,
I mean, yeah, it's that's terrifying. Like even if one person has that account, and that's a real thing. That's a harrowing account. Like you cross this bridge and then you're stuck with the choice of, you're like, these people are freaky, they're freaking me out, and my only choice is to stop or like just drive them down, mow them down, and hopefully they jump out of the way, like, because I'm
exactly,
I'm
and it's like in the middle of nowhere too.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Like you're in a vulnerable position, especially like if it's like one of those, like, I don't know what it is, and maybe you can enlighten me, but it's like maybe it's one of those like one-way bridges where you have to take turns with the other person. We have a couple of those in town, so it's like as soon as you start to cross, it's like there's nowhere to go really, unless you're hitting reverse. You're definitely in a vulnerable position.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
there's like a light, and one side can go at a time.
Yeah, so right, like you start getting across, and some people like, you know, get in your way. And especially if they're organized enough to like be on the backside too, like, fuck, that's terrifying. It's a terrifying. It could be a terrifying ordeal.
And yeah, like I said, there's like this one like 30, 40 foot tower, like probably 50 feet away from the bridge. It's just a stone tower, just in the woods. It's weird. Nobody knows where it's from, where it came from, or anything.
Yeah, people in the chat. Duchess Doobie saying, if you're cornering me like that on a bridge, yeah, good luck, because I'm flooring the gas. Yeah, that'd be my response too. I'm like, listen, you've taken your own life in your hands. You brought a person to a car fight here in this scenario, right? Good luck.
Yeah, totally, man.
Like, yeah,
that's what I would do.
Yeah, insurance. It's crazy what insurance will cover. My car's gonna be fine. Let's see what your health insurance covers. Terrifying.
Awesome, man.
Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that urban legend. I like that. It's interesting. It's cool to kind of learn more urban legends from different areas. So I hope more people call in with you know, their kind of local urban legends and stuff, and share them. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I love hearing about like little niche stories.
Yeah, honestly. It's so interesting, because sometimes there's similar ones between towns, but the cannibal one's pretty unique. I've never heard that, the albino cannibals. So.
Oh, it was a pleasure speaking to you, buddy.
All right, take care of yourself. Love you too. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Bye. People asking about the backgrounds. The guy who does them, he is awesome, and he has an unreal Instagram. Let me pull him out here, just so I get his handle correct. Because when I messaged him, I was like, "Hey, you want me to give you a shout out to the show?" He's like, "Nope, I just like the show. Here's some cool backgrounds. Let me know when you need more." And I'm like, "That is awesome." His name is Ken, and he goes by Mindful Zero on Instagram. He does all sorts of cool AI art and then illustrates it. And I kind of found his stuff because he followed the shows, and I was like, man, this kind of fits Cosmic Channel. So it's really cool stuff. So if you want to check him out. What was someone asking me about before? If I had an update on something. What was the update they were looking for? Oh, landing strip in Port McNeil. No one knows this landing strip in Port McNeil. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the book's packed away right now. I can't even find it. There's a book called like the UFO Encyclopedia, collection of UFO stories from around the world. And there's one in a town that's literally an hour and 40 minutes from me north, that I drive past tons of times. And I've been there. I've asked locals. I've asked people that have families that have lived there their whole lives, and no one knows about these UFO landing pads. And in this book, it says that in the 70s, the mayor built UFO landing pads in the city of Port McNeil to welcome extraterrestrial visitors. And I wanted to check them out. I've got one, you know what? Yeah, someone's saying take a goddamn cosmic road trip and find it. I got one other thing that I'm going to try, actually. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. If I have some free time tomorrow, I'll do it. I'm going to try to call like City Hall in Port McNeil. I don't know if they have a City Hall. It's a pretty small town. And ask them outright. Be like, where are they? And is there any record of this? And, you know, maybe, because I would love to go there and just be like, you know, film a little video and be like, this is where I got the mayor made aliens. I'm standing right on the pad here, you know, and post it for all you guys. But we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, there should be Invalid ID saying there should be an archive person there. Just like that, the lines are open there. 1-833-703-0424 if you got a story. There was someone on hold, but sorry I didn't clear the line fast enough. So call back if you're still waiting on hold. I've checked. I can't find anything. Call take priority. Let's go right to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is AJ from Wyoming.
Hey, AJ, what's going on?
Hey, so I tried to call last week, but
you guys
didn't do a live.
No, we were. Sorry, man. I was. I had to move. I got the keys to my new place early, and I was pressed for time. So if I didn't get the keys, I was gonna record, and then I got the keys early, so I had to pack up everything and move. So my apologies. Nice. I did listen to your voicemail before the show, or a portion of it. Yeah. So I know you called. So what do you got for us tonight?
So it did. Okay, so it did cut off the story I was trying to tell. So this kind of coincides with the Ouija board experience I talked about the last time I called, and it has to do with the old man spirit that lives in my parents' house. So I did actually remember one of the questions that we asked during the Ouija board experience, and it was, I asked, have I seen you before, or have I like had an interaction with you before? And it said yes. And I asked how many times, and it said 3 times. And that is like a true fact, because I've seen or felt the spirit 3 times. If I can try to find a picture of it, I'll look through my photos and email it to you. But I did capture a photo of this spirit. But the story I want to tell is, so I was I came home from school. I was the first one home before my sister, and she got home a little bit after this happened. But I was at home watching TV, watching like The Office, and all of a sudden I just heard other people talking in the house, and I don't know if it was like my neighbor's home or something, but I was sitting there watching The Office, and there was this talking, disembodied voices, and I was like, okay, what the heck is that? So I muted the TV, and I still heard the talking going on. So then I decided to get up and go check outside to see if like my neighbors were around, if like anyone was across the street, or if anyone was walking down the street, maybe having a conversation. But as I went outside and looked around, there was nobody around. There was no one across the street. There was no one like next door talking or anything like that. And when I went back inside, I still heard the disembodied voices.
Weird.
And I wasn't like tired or anything, but I decided to just like continue watching my show, and I was like, okay, whatever. That's weird. So I was like sitting there watching my TV show, and then all of a sudden, like, I just like closed my eyes for maybe about like a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and I saw like the visual of an old man, and like I can still kind of see it like when I think about it. He looked like he was maybe from like the 1800s or something, because he was wearing like a suit, like a pinstripe suit. It was like grayish, brownish color.
Yeah.
And he had like a top hat on, and just like the look on his face was just very, very menacing. Like thinking about it now, it just like freaks me out, because he just looked very unpleasant to be around.
Yeah.
And so like after I saw that, I like immediately woke up, and I was like, that was creepy. What was that? Who was that? And I just like sat there, and I like turned the TV off, because I was like, I didn't hear the voices anymore after that. And so I just like sat there kind of in silence. And then maybe like 5 minutes later, my sister came home. And I didn't tell her what happened or anything like that, but I was just like freaked out, because I was like, did you just get home? And she looked at me like, yeah, like I rode the bus. And I was like, okay. And like that was just kind of like it for the interaction. But yeah, I just wanted to tell that quick story, because it kind of like corroborates with the Ouija board experience that I had.
Now, when you were hearing the disembodied voices, could you make out anything, or was it just mumbling?
It was just mumbling. So like it definitely was, I could distinctly like tell that it was a male and a female talking. So I couldn't really make out the conversation, but it was just like, you know, whispering as if like, you know, you were hearing a conversation that was going on in another room.
Yeah.
And I was just like sitting there, like just trying to listen, trying to hear what they were talking about, but I could not like make out any words or any like coherent sentences. I just heard their voices.
Now, when you moved around and searched them out, they louder, quieter, or did they always just kind of stay the same?
It stayed the same, like, because I muted the TV before I went outside, because I was just sitting there listening. And, you know, I thought it was my sister, because I thought maybe she came home before I did, or she, like, went through the basement maybe and, like, was downstairs with maybe her boyfriend or something. But she wasn't, because she got home at, like, 3:30ish, and I was there at, like, 3. So, like, I heard it between the period of, like, 3 o'clock when I got home and was watching my TV show, and then between the time that she got home from riding the bus. So I was like, there's no way it could be my sister and her boyfriend, because, like, she obviously wasn't home. And it kind of freaked me out because, I mean, you could hear, usually, like, if my sister was in her room, you could hear her talking through the vent, but it definitely wasn't her voice. It was like someone else's voice, and then,
nothing
like,
you could
another
make
male
out, eh?
voice.
Interesting. Because I'm trying to think. Somebody that
Yeah.
Duchess of Doobies in the chat is saying that clairaudience, but I think for it to be called like what your experience to be clairaudience, I think if I remember correctly, you learn information through paranormal means, but it's like you're hearing these disembodied voices, but you can't locate them and you can't quite make out what they're saying. Has this only happened the one time?
Yes, it was that one only time that I heard that happening.
Interesting.
And after that instance, like, it was just like quiet. I never really heard anything else.
Yeah. And never anywhere else you've had this experience?
No, I was just like sitting in, because like we had a sunroom and that's where our TV was. And so it was in the sunroom where I heard the voices talking. And even when I like went out into like the main living space, like the dining room area, they were still there. And I didn't check downstairs because, you know, I'm terrified of my basement. So I was like, I'm not going down there, because what if they are down there?
Yeah, it's so interesting. And then just to not be able to locate, like, it must have been a little bit frustrating where you're like, where the hell are these coming from?
Yeah, well, I was just like confused because I was like, okay, like maybe it had to be people walking by the house, because, you know, I would be able to hear it because the front door, we had like, you know, the screen door and then like the, you know, heavier door, and the front door was open. So like I figured, okay, it was people just, you know, walking by. But when I went outside, literally nobody was outside. Nobody was on like the side of the house. Nobody was walking down the sidewalk.
Now, how old's the house? Any other kind of like interesting, you know, ghostly experiences in the house? Like, I wonder if this is just like something else to do with like another issue, like something else entirely. We're just looking at a very small scope.
I think the house is about 60 to 70 years old. It was built.
It's not like ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was old.
Yeah, it was not like super old,
Yeah.
but it was definitely like built in the 50s or 60s or something like that. But,
no deaths that you know of in the house?
No, not that I know of. I've looked it up before, and, you know, there's only like 3 previous owners, and nobody died. But another weird instance that I kept experiencing that was like just reoccurring was random drumming. So like it would be between like the hours of like 8 o'clock and maybe midnight.
Dude, you had a you had a Jumanji board in the house. That's what that is.
Yeah, something like that. Because like when I heard the drumming every now and then, I was like, who's playing bass that loud? Like, whose music is that loud?
Yeah.
And I would like poke my head out of my room, because my bedroom had a sliding glass door that led out to the back porch and the backyard. And usually, you know, I could hear people's bass from their car if they were like playing their music loud as they're driving by. So I was like, oh, okay, it's just, you know, people driving by with their music up super loud.
Yeah.
But then it would happen when there's no one driving by. And when I would poke my head out, it would just be very like faint, but it would be like there, like I could hear it. And I would be the only one awake. I would be the only one just like, you know, watching TV on like a low volume, or just reading a book or working on homework. And I would just hear this drumming, and I'm like, where's that coming from? And I thought it was like, you know, maybe it's my neighbors playing their bass super loud, but most of our neighbors are old. So like they're not going to be playing loud music.
Yeah, loud bassy music late at night. Well, I mean, like maybe. Let's chalk that up to a maybe. Like they could be. You know, you don't know what everyone does in their life, so maybe there's a older couple that loves bass heavy.
Yeah.
Dubstep.
Well, and like
late at night.
and like the weird thing, like our neighbors, they had. So like we had our house and we had like our neighbor's house next to us, and they have pretty much the same acreage as we have, and they didn't have like a actual residence on their property. It was just like a shop that they used for their business. So like maybe it could have been them like in the shop playing music, but like when it would happen late at night, nobody would be at the shop. Nobody would be like, no lights would be on.
Yeah, no one should be.
Yeah, so I was like, there should be nobody outside. There should be nobody in my backyard.
Weird.
And yeah, it just like freaked me out. And then like, yeah, with the Ouija board experience I told last time, it just like, if I can find the picture, I'll definitely email it to you.
Yeah,
and
please do.
Because it's the picture of just me, like I took in front of my computer, and I was going to post it on Facebook for like a profile picture, but after taking the picture, there's like a very faint outline of like a head. So like it's just like the head and like partial shoulders.
Ooh,
and it
send that in.
Like when I think about it, it does look very much like the old man that I visualized when I like closed my eyes for those like few minutes while watching TV.
Yeah.
And like that freaks me out. And I definitely showed that to a couple of my friends, and they're like, yeah, dude, I see it. I see the head. Like I see it. And I'm like, yeah.
Like what any like dark vibe in the house, or just normal? Like what do you feel when you're in there? What's your gut tell you?
I definitely feel dark vibes when I'm in there. There's been plenty of times where I'm like home alone, and I just like when I was like in high school and stuff, my dad would like go out of town for like church trips and stuff, and I would just watch the house, and I would be home alone because like my sisters, like my two oldest sisters, they moved out, and then it was just me and my other sister there, but she would be at her friend's house. So like it would just be me all alone in that house, and I would pretty much sleep with almost every single light on, or I would just like stay in my room, and I would not leave once it got like past 8 o'clock. I would just stay in my room and not leave unless I like absolutely had to go to the bathroom or like get a drink of water. But even then, I would turn the lights on.
It's how long have you lived there?
So I lived there until I was 18 when I went to college.
Yeah.
So I graduated high school in 2016, and that's when I stopped living there. But my parents, they still live there.
Do they feel anything?
Experienced. No, not really. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're really like huge into like the paranormal like I was. And like I even have had friends come over before too, and one of my friends, just a couple times, he mentioned like, I'm getting a weird vibe, and I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know, like I just feel like I'm being watched. Because there was a time where I had my birthday party in like 6th grade, and I had like 5 or 6 people over at my house, and we were watching like Ghost Adventures, and like a few of my friends were like trying to investigate my basement and see if there were any ghosts or anything, and seeing if they could hear anything, because I told them that like I heard the little girl, her voice in the furnace room, so they were like checking out the furnace room and just seeing if they could hear anything.
Yeah.
And they didn't really capture anything, but like after a while, like my friend, he was like, dude, like I'm not kidding, I literally feel like somebody is behind us watching us. Like, I feel something. And I was like, I believe you 100% because I definitely like have felt it before. And even downstairs, like if I watch TV down there by myself, I would kind of be afraid to move. Like I would feel like just someone's eyes are on me, and if I moved, they would either like lash out or like do something to like catch my attention or like keep me there. And
yeah, it's so creepy.
Yeah, it was just terrifying. Like I
I wonder,
definitely don't like going over there.
I wonder if it's something to do with like, you know, we've kind of talked about it before, but because you like, maybe you're sensitive to this stuff, maybe you were like, even that you're just paying it, like maybe your parents don't pay it any mind. Like they just, stuff happens and they're just like, nope. Right? Nothing to see here. Nope. But you're like, you take more of an interest and more notice. And so whatever this thing is kind of like attaches to that. And that's why like you notice it more. It's because it's like by you kind of giving it that conscious, like being conscious of it, it's like feeding off that.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. I think that's true because I definitely believe if you give your energy to whatever entity is trying to speak to you or get your attention, then like it's gonna continue on with whatever it's doing. And I don't know exactly what like the little girl wants from me or what the old man wants from me, but just from the feelings I get from those two, I don't think the history between them is very good.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're from the same time period, but I think they may be from the same time period, and they probably do have some sort of connection to each other. Like maybe the old man was either her grandpa or like a relative that maybe did something to her, and she is just kind of living in that like constant fear that, you know, he's gonna do something, he's gonna come find you or come get you. And like I've definitely felt those kind of presence
terrifying
when I like go into the garage or the basement by myself.
And you said no deaths that you know of or anything like that? Just the 3 previous owners?
No, not that I know of.
Interesting, man. That's terrifying. Well, do some digging. Talk to your parents. Like, you know, pick your parents' brain. Be like, are you sure you're not like you never noticed any of that stuff? And I want you to call back in with some updates on this place. This is terrifying, man. Sounds like you're not living there. That's probably good move for your mental health.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've like been in the house like alone, and I don't really try to be in that house alone just because of those things. I definitely do have like more stories to tell about that place because me and my cousin have experienced some things together, so I know that he can corroborate my stories as well. But yeah, I'll definitely do more digging, do more research about it, because I would like to know who these people are or like who these spirits are and why they were trying to contact me so much.
Man, get a little voice, personal voice recorder or something that you can set up so it's like, you know, if you're hearing these voices or these muffled drums, you can, you know, some of these little pocket, you can get them on Amazon for dirt cheap, $30. They're super sensitive, pick up really low level noise, right? Maybe that's a start next time you're there. Think about it. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, definitely will.
With that story.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for listening.
Hey, take care of yourself.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. I hate haunted houses, especially ones that you have to live in. I'm so glad when I walked in, that was like one of the first things I did in my new place. I walked in, I was like, okay, feels good in here. I don't have to, I'm not worried. We did have someone on the line. There they are. Let's go right to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kirk Butterfield, Cambridge, Nebraska.
What's going on? What do you got for us tonight?
Yo!
Yo, can you hear me?
Just give me 1 second. Yeah, this is Kirk Butterfield.
Hey, how's it going?
Yes,
What do you got
correct.
for us? What do you got for us tonight?
I have 3 UFO stories. They're all from Southwest Nebraska, and I'm going to go in order from date.
Okay, let's hear it.
So in 2000, okay, so, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear, man.
So
Perfect.
in 2004, I was working at a restaurant called Town Talk in Cambridge, Nebraska, and we just got off work, and we're smoking a bowl, swag, because that's all we had back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was sitting with my friend. We're looking up in the sky, or I was at least, and just saw a dot, and I thought it was Venus. Shifted, took off. Next story. I'm gonna be quick with all this. Circa, we're going not even forward. Sorry, I'm having a little Budweiser here.
That's all right. Hey.
2010, 4th of July, with my whole entire family, 30 witnesses. My grandpa pointed it out. He just died 4 years ago. He was in 94. Anywho, he was the one that pointed it out, and it was a sun orb coming across the horizon, going west towards like it was in the west of the sky, shining towards Colorado, because I'm pretty close to that state. And everyone saw it. I tried to take a photo with, at the time, an Android. I think I had the old slider, like Droid, and I had like the full keyboard,
Yeah.
I have all the audio, no picture, and everyone saw it, and they can testify. The last one I saw was in 2015. I was on my deck at my parents' house, still in Cambridge. All these stories, and they came out inside it. There was 2 little balls with like lightning in between them, like traveling really slow. Just
say that one more time.
Right north, from south to north. Yeah, and I have one little cryptid one that I wanted to share with you guys a long time ago. Funny story, because I thought it was a cryptid. It was just a crackhead. Some kid was throwing himself out in traffic.
What kind of cryptid did you think it was?
I thought it was like a freaking, Bigfoot or something, because it was like a monkey, I thought, because he was down on his knees looking through the neighbor's fence. Come to find out, it was just some guy having a really bad psychosis moment.
Oh, lovely.
So.
Oh, hey, man. Thank you for
I've been
calling
listening to you guys for a while, and that's pretty much it. I just keep it simple, and,
hey, man,
my shit's real.
We love it. We love the quick hits.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in and sharing those with us.
Yeah, dude.
I'm one mistaken cryptid sighting. The Venus one's interesting because I've done that before too, where I've seen a bright light and I'm like, Venus, and then it moves. And
but no, this was like a traveler, 100%. Like it looked like it was melting into the sun. It was floating, like probably hard to tell because it was so bright. It looked like the sun traveling into the sun.
Ooh,
and my grandpa noticed it because it was just traveling it looked like the sun. Like you wouldn't even notice until you looked at it.
Once it kind of got in the way of the sun, then you just, that's it. You don't see it anymore.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah,
Strange.
You nailed it.
Strange. Well, thank you so much for calling in with those quick hits. I love it.
Love you guys.
Hey.
Yeah, stay tuned. I'll stay tuned every time.
Thank
All right,
you,
love you.
Take care of yourself. Bye. Hey, nothing wrong with some quick hits. Listen, you got some quick hits. You want to call? Get straight to the point. Hey, I'm down. I love hearing all of the people's accounts and stuff. And maybe those quick hits will inspire someone else. They'll be like, you know what? I saw that. Maybe I saw something similar, and you want to call and share your story. I think that's going to be the last call. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it for Cosmic Channels this week. The lines are now closed. I'll be back next week, and hopefully we won't have any more interruptions for the next little while. And I've got to reset up all this stuff. So, stay tuned. We'll be growing the show. And a huge thank you to Duchess of Doobies donating to the show there. I saw you. I seen you. And I know who you are now, so I'm not going to... Now I know your alias. Thank you, everyone, for supporting the show. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I hope you like it. Listen, you got feedback you want to give me? You want, you're like, hey, I like this audio. I don't like this background audio. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Shoot me a message. I'm open to feedback. I like kind of taking stuff in, and I'm not married to anything, so I make some tweaks. One person did ask. I wanted to address this actually. One person messaged me, tracked me down my personal FB there, and they sent me slid into my DMs and said, "Hey, I called, and you deleted my story from the episode." And they're like, "What can I do differently to make the show?" Nothing. And to be honest, you didn't. The only person who was getting cut was John Jacoby, and we love John Jacoby and his mom on the show, just because he was, calling in, being a wise guy, having a laugh. That's fine. That's what we're totally cool with that in a live stream. But what I do with the podcast version is I usually try to keep the episodes to a hard hour. Around 60 minutes. If the story goes long into 70, it is what it is. I also try to mix up the story. So I try not to, if someone calls in with a shadow person and the next call that I received was also a shadow person, usually what I do is I just cut one of those calls and I put it in I have a file folder of unused stories, and I just save it to plug it back into another podcast version in the coming week. So if you think your story got cut, have no fear. It's just probably I haven't used it yet. So with that, thank you everyone who's been listening to Cosmic Channels and continuing to help me grow the show. It's been awesome, and Cosmic Channels are now closed. See you next week, same time, same place.